Thank you all for joining us today for our Mink Wahine Leadership Series. Looking if we have the majority of everyone here for today's webinar to make sure that we have everyone in the right space. Today, we are going to be talking about lifting women in the workplace. So glad to have all of you joining us for the conversation. My name is Brittany Montiliano. I am the program manager for the Mink Center for Business and Leadership. Happy to have all of you here with us. I'd like to take this time to thank my team who is also on this call. We have Colleen McAlooney, whose camera is up right now. She is the director for our center. Thank you, Colleen, as well as Krista Nishimoto, who is our program coordinator for the Mink Center for Business and Leadership. Krista will actually be assisting us with any technical issues for today's presentation. If you come across any tech issues, please be sure to contact Krista. She'll be dropping her information into the chat area. And also just for everyone's reference, because we know this conversation can go very quickly, we are recording today's session, and we'll be sending a link to everyone to the recording. But anyways, now I would like to introduce all of you, start our formal introductions to our moderator and speakers. I would like to introduce you to Sarah Gray. So Sarah is a vice president for human resources at HEMIC. But in addition to that, she's also an alumni of our Patsy T. Mink Leadership Alliance Cohort 3. We are so excited to have Sarah joining us today and helping us with leading this discussion. Prior to joining HEMIC, Sarah was the Senior Vice President of Organizational Development for American Savings Bank, where she led the change management and teammate readiness strategies related to the construction of American Savings' new downtown Honolulu campus. With over 20 years of experience in training and development, Sarah's ultimate passion is to help organizations that she works with to help them help their potential, or to help organizations unleash their potential by leveraging their greatest differentiator, their people. So thank you, Sarah, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Brittany. It's really great to be here today. It's nice to see so many friendly and familiar faces. I'm here to talk about something that I think is a really important topic. Certainly one as a mom and as an executive and a business leader, one that is close to my heart. And one that I'm hoping that we can add a lot of value to the folks that are on the call today. So thank you very much. It's my privilege to be here today. So since 2015, the McKinsey organization has been conducting the largest comprehensive study of the state of women in the workplace. Their 2020 survey results focused specifically on the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. And there were some really crucial findings. Women have disproportionately felt the impacts of COVID-19 in the workplace, as they've been more likely to be laid off or furloughed. Additionally, working mothers reported feeling a double whammy. The traditional supports and safety nets of childcare and school have been upended. And as a result, McKinsey data finds that 1 in 4 women are contemplating a downshift in their career or potentially leaving the workplace altogether. So those are national statistics, but certainly they force us as business leaders here in Hawaii to pause and take a moment to think about what this means for us in our organizations, in our wahine, in our workplaces. So today's timely discussion brings 2 amazing female business leaders together from our community to share their observations on how COVID has impacted their organizations, some of the great things that they're doing to help support their staff, including the women in their workplaces, and leave you hopefully with some really valuable tips for uplifting women in the workplace today. So let me introduce to you these amazing women that are here on our panel. Terry Funakoshi is the Chief Operating Officer at YWCA Oahu. She's a strategic business leader who's passionate about helping small businesses develop strategies for entering and remaining competitive in today's workplaces. As a forward thinker, Terry always works to improve operations and profitability through proven technology that reduces costs and increases revenue. Terry's also known for innovation through collaboration that contributes and makes a positive impact in our community. Terry is a 2021 Pacific Business News Women Who Mean Business honoree and a past recipient of the 2019 Pacific Business News Nonprofit Leader, the 2018 U.S. Small Business Administration State of Hawaii Advocate for Women in Small Business, the Governor's Outstanding Professional Nominee in 2013, and a proud alumna of the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Woo! That is an accomplished resume, Terry. Also joining us today is Jackie Ingemels. Jackie serves as the Chief People Officer at ProService, where she supports employee development, retention, and growth, as well as providing HR support. Jackie's passion is to lead employee engagement and enhance the customer experience while driving growth and improving employee performance at organizations like MetLife Asia, AIG, and AT&T. Jackie has served as a mentor to countless employees throughout her career in Hawaii and Asia, and she's a thought leader who shares her experience and advocates the practice of customer insight and employee experience. She graduated with a Bachelor of Business Administration and Management from University of Hawaii at Manoa and has her master's degree in Management Information Systems from Roosevelt University. Jackie also volunteers her time and shares her expertise with startup entrepreneurs and investors. So I think we can all agree we are well equipped with some experts in the room today. So Jackie, let's start off with some introductory thoughts and maybe observations on COVID in your organization and how it's impacted the team at ProService.
Thank you, Sarah. I think today, everyone knows what COVID is. But if you look back 18 months or 20 months ago, we had no idea what COVID is and how COVID is going to impact our life. I do have to say ProService, we quickly launched the work from home initiative very quickly. So most of our employees started to work from home. So when you ask me about the impact, working from home could be someone's dream, but at that time, it's just an order to stay safe, right? So a lot of people always want to work from home, but for ProService, we are a high energy with high performing culture. People love to hang out in the office. They like to talk and share, and they want a pahana all in the office. So it was really adding stress to our employees working at home and feel kind of like lonely, and yet we are being asked to focus on the client's need. So I would say that COVID disrupt everyone's business and personal life. And I think workplace and workforce and also work-life balance was critical and has been continuously be a critical point and impacting everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Jackie. Definitely the disruption and certainly the impacts to work-life balance, no doubt. Yeah, thank you. Terry, what are your thoughts and observations to get us started?
Yeah, and Jackie hit it on the nose, but for us, to give you some context for YWC Oahu, we have about 50 employees, 7 which are men, so mostly women, and we have 3 properties, very different properties. Our Laniakea property in downtown Honolulu is where we deliver our programs, our small business and leadership development, our economic advancement, our health and wellness. And our second property is Fernhurst in Makiki, which is a residential building for women in transition out of incarceration, which is manned by all women and open 24/7. And then we have a third property, Kokokahi in Kaneohe, which is an 11-acre waterfront camp and retreat, which we had to shut down the camp and retreat program through COVID. And now we are pivoting to other programs. So 3 really different areas, which really brought on a lot of stresses for us. As a nonprofit, we were categorized as an essential worker. So we had to continue working from the beginning. We're still working in the office. So the kind of stresses that we felt were really on the job stresses. It included a lot of burnout, anxiety, feelings of isolation at work. I mean, just eating alone at your desk, was isolation. And just being overwhelmed in all of the tasks because things were changing so rapidly, how we delivered our programs and services. And even today with the new mandates that we are seeing with vaccinations, it's adding another layer. So right now, we are continuing to really think of thoughtful solutions to all of these programs.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, boy, you had a lot of different as an essential organization that was required to be in the office. What a different perspective, right, from some of us who had remote work challenges. So that's a really interesting perspective. Jackie, before we go into the first question, I wondered if in our pre-conversations you had touched on this idea of COVID turning into a marathon versus a sprint. And I wondered if you wanted to share that. I thought that was such insightful thinking. I wondered if you could share a little bit about your observations around that.
Sure, thank you. So like what I said, 18 months ago, we have no idea. So we were all being told to go work at home, and everybody said, okay, we work at home. So this is going to be a 3 months, right? Sprint. We can focus and then work from home. And for ProService, we provide HR solution more than ever. A lot of small business and medium-sized business really depend on us to provide PPP assistance and a lot of like HR solution and advice to them. So our employees would like truly like gung-ho, like let's do it and let's help and give all the best. And then they start to realize, oh no, this is not 3 months. Now this is going to be a marathon. So we are tired, right? And so we have to end up putting in a lot of program together. So, but right now, honestly, today, the marathon analogy, I want to give you an extension one. It's like few months ago, we all saw the finishing line. Now the finishing line is being moved.
Yeah.
Moving the finishing line. So employees are now in this situation like, oh, my tank are pretty much empty. I was like waiting to get into the finishing line. What am I going to do, right? So we are looking at different ways to really like address the burnout. But just to respond to your comment about sprint, marathon, and now it's extended marathon.
Right, it's become a triathlon, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Terry, any thoughts on that before we move into our questions?
No, same thing. It's been crazy. Like I said, today we're working on vaccine mandate. So I get it.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, one of I tend to see people looking for certainty. And so I think the certainty was, well, this will end and then there will be a vaccine. And then that was a certainty we anchored to. And then it was, well, things will be better in the summer. And that was a certainty that we anchored to. And then it was, well, school will start again and our kids will be back. And that was and sort of that, Jackie, to your point, sort of that moving anchor and that lack of certainty, I think has been really taxing for people, that just not knowing what certainty they can hold on to, and that the effects of that, right, that the effects of continued moving of the finish line for folks and what that does for our workforce has been on my mind. Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's see, we can start off. Terry, can you give us some ideas of things that YWCA has helped do specifically to help support team members during this time? And why has it been important to continue to support and engage and empower your teammates?
Yeah, going into COVID, we knew that, the solutions were going to be hard. There's no one size fit all answers to everything. And like how I mentioned, we have so, diverse properties, how are we going to address that? So, the first thing we said was communication. So we met with our team, we met with the directors, the managers, and, one-on-one with some staff members to really see what was happening out there and really to meet them where they're at and to see what kind of solutions or, accommodations we could provide and, get the big picture. So one of the things that we did come up with was, looking at the wellness of our team, and some of the solutions, the immediate solutions we could implement were like flex time, additional time off, compensation, similar to hazard pay, because we had people working 24/7 and short staffed. And we looked at well-being, and we knew that it was important. We wanted to start a wellness committee, but we weren't ready yet. But what we said, let's just do it, and organically we started it. We got volunteers from each department to represent the team, and we got mid-managers and frontline staff. No executives were allowed. This is going to be done by our team, and appointed 2 co-chairs, which I'm mentoring. And together we came up with the program and what we were going to do. And we implemented surveys, events, and we organized a lot of gatherings, virtual and so on. And then we got what we needed. We got employee initiatives and ideas. And we really wanted to meet their wants and needs. So what came of that was like really four top things. We looked at their work environment and not only making it safe, clean, and efficient, we added ergonomics. So we gave everybody a free wellness screening and upgraded their area so that it was ergonomically friendly, so they could feel a little bit more comfortable and taking care of that work. Second thing we looked at was financial health. We knew that was a problem, so we added a 401k that you could participate in immediately on top of our already retirement fund, which has a time waiting restriction. And then we had some financial literacy classes around that. And then people wanted more time off. I mean, that's a hard one, but we were able to implement an extra personal day this year. And next year, we will celebrate Juneteenth as an additional holiday. So that'll bring our company to 14 holidays, which we think is a lot compared to other agencies. So we're happy with that. And again, we implemented a telecommuting policy and how to work safely at home, knowing that most of our staff was working in the office, but we have some of them that needed to take care of high-risk parents or children. So where we were able, we did implement the telecommuting policy. And then the last one that we felt was important was physical fitness. We implemented a free health and wellness membership at our gym for staff. And this really helped to reduce the COVID inflicted stresses. And it really brought our culture of caring forward and really empowered our employees to take care of their well-being. So, I would have to give it up to our committee, our wellness committee. Our events and our workshops and all our engagements, our surveys showed that we have about 83% engagement with the staff, which is great. And I'm so proud to say one of the questions was, do you like your coworkers? And we have 90%. So I'm so happy that we all like each other, to begin with. So just that question on the survey, we were so proud, and we will continue to support our team, through education and workshops, events, and just well-being all around.
Thanks, Terry. I love the focus on well-being as a mitigator for stress and to help support our holistic wellness. I love that, and the focus on work-life balance and time. I love the focus there. Speaking of not moving, our lights turn off if we don't move. So we have a darker office now than we had a few minutes ago. So let me just acknowledge that. Excellent. So Terry, a focus on engaging employees through coming up with some bottoms-up initiatives that seem to be focused on well-being and sort of holistic health and well-being. Excellent. Jackie, what about pro service? What were some of the strategies that you folks undertook?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to highlight 70% of our employees are female. So, we have 300 some employees, and then so about more than 200 is female. So I love what Terry just shared. We did a lot of similar initiative approach, just like what Terry just described. So maybe I will share from another angle how we address our employees' emotional needs. Okay, so because like what I said early on, our organization, filled with a lot of young people, a lot of energy, they like to be together. And when they start to work from home, they get this stress. So we immediately realizing that how are we going to operate remotely and maintain the culture and energize our employees so that they don't feel lonely, they feel engaged. So we focus on 3 C's. First one is connection. Make sure they know they still connect, they still plug in, even they are not in the office. Number 2 is communication. We communicate all the time, but we may have to use a different way to communicate. Now we're in a remote situation. Number 3 is celebration. Okay, so I'm going to just maybe go over one at a time. So we decided that, wow, everybody's not in the office, and how do we connect them together? the most important thing is we need to connect back to the purpose of the business. Why are we even going to work in the first place? For ProService, our purpose is to empower Hawaii employers to succeed in Hawaii. This is the most critical time that we need to help all the employers in Hawaii. So we need to show the bigger purpose for our employees so they are not alone. Sarah, you mentioned early on about the unknown, uncertainty, things keep moving. So how do we make sure they know that there is some certainty? We are committed as a group. We're going to fight this together as a team. So we put together a theme. We call it like client first, ProHana always. You can tell why it's ProHana. It's ProService Ohana, right? So clients first, ProHana always. So we let our employee know that you work so hard to put client first. We know you are stressed. We want you to know we care. So we put together ProHana always series. We have calendar set up every month. Where's our focus? This is like what Sarah's saying, that people want to see the light of the end of the tunnel. Can you just tell me what next month, so that at least I know everybody's together, how to march forward. So we have a wonderful calendar set up every month with a focus from we care, we learn, we thank, we celebrate. So every month have a theme, and every lunchtime we bring in speakers. So for the We Learn month, our CEO, Ben Gassi, even reiterate our company strategy, our purpose, our discipline execution, our core value. So the reason I say this is employee want to know what's coming in front of them. How are we going to support each other? So we organize like lunch meeting for parents to come in, moms to come in. The father end up coming anyway. So they all say, I want to come in and listen to how to parenting the kids when I'm working from home, right? So we also have Mother's Day special toast to all the mothers. And then we also have like, what do we have? What's the breast cancer awareness month, everybody united and then celebrate. So we have PauHana, by the way. We used to have PauHana together in the office. So we decided that, how do we do PauHana? So we contract a vendor to do PauHana for the entire organization over Zoom, and employees, pets, and kids all join, and then we listen music and we sing together. It was wonderful. So how do we connect them together, right? So that's number one, connection. Communication cannot be same. We're not in person anymore. So we make sure we have daily huddle, with one-on-one meeting, with team meeting. We also increase our weekly business meeting. Every lunchtime, every Friday lunchtime, 30 minutes. 10 minutes is just let everybody know about the people-related issues, like birthday, anniversary, and newborn baby, and whatever, right? So good news, people news. And then the next 20 minutes, we ask each department to rotate, right? This week is accounting, next week is IT. So they will share what they're working on, even though they're working from home as a unit. So people get communication done and also realize what their coworkers doing. Last not least, celebration. Celebration need to be done small and big. Small thing, say thank you. We promote thank you. We tell employee just put in a Slack channel, even like few words. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Terry. I like it. Thank you. Just say thank you. And we also have a thankathon. I make up this word, thankathon. 1 minute thankathon in the business meeting. We just pause and let everybody just 1 minute text to each other. I text to Sarah, I text to Brittany, and then that 1 minute generates so many positive vibe. At the end of that 1 minute, we ask the employee, how do you feel? They said, we feel good. People feel good when they give thanks to their coworker, even though they're not next to them. So celebration, like we have, we did a Thanksgiving pie drive. We asked employees to drive to Hawaii Kai parking lot, and then our senior management gave them Ted's Bakery. Ted Bakery is our client, so everyone get a pie and then a bottle of apple cider and little thank you notes from the management. So, and then we also push our year-end and annual bonus up. Why? Because we want employee to plan their online shopping on the day after Thanksgiving. So we got the bonus payout on the day after Thanksgiving. Now it become a tradition. I think we're going to do it this year again. But for most important thing is celebration is very important. The last celebration I wanted to highlight is year end, we invited our clients come to our business meeting. When clients share what service they receive from our employees via Zoom, telling how much they gained from the hard work from the employee, what they did at home, the feeling was like so strong. It instilled pride to our employee. And they just look back, say, wow, it's all worth it. So yeah, it's very difficult year, but then, like people, employee, we all want to feel appreciated. Hard work get recognized.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We by the way, I love what Terry was talking about wellness. We recently launched our wellness app to allow employee to do their meditation and then do their yoga remotely from their home, because we worry about like lockdown and they may not feel comfortable to go to the gym.
Wow, there's just a ton there, Jackie, to dig into. I love the idea of getting back to the purpose of the organization. And we started out talking about certainty. And I love this idea of connecting back to, in this world where all of these things feel like they're changing, here's the thing that's not, right? Here's the thing you can anchor to. And that's the important work that our organization does, whether it's the YWCA or ProService or any other organization. So I love that, giving certainty by revisiting the purpose of the organization. That's brilliant. I also really like, I love the focus on connection. And I think about the impact of COVID specifically on our female leaders and our women in the workplace. And I think about our relational culture and the absence of those connections, right? When we're not face to face in the workplace. And so I love the work that you're doing to ensure the connections remain, both as kind of a mitigation for isolation, but also just to strengthen and bring out those natural strengths in women leaders to begin with. So I love that, the connection and the certainty around purpose. Beautiful, brilliant things. And the Bankathon is the coolest thing ever. Like, we could all do that today. I love that strategy. That's super cool. All right, so I have another question, and Jackie, I'll throw this one to you first. And you've touched on a few things, but I'm curious, what are your thoughts, if this continues, and certainly it will, and then there will be the next crisis, right? There will be another bump in the road for us. And so, if there's a takeaway from this, and we can think about, we knew we needed resilient workplaces anyway, but certainly now I think a lot of us are thinking about, how do we really build resilient workforces to get through today's challenges and really face tomorrow's stronger? So how are you thinking about building resilient workplaces, and how are you thinking about equipping your women employees, your female employees, to be more resilient for the next challenge?
Sarah, I think this is a very, very good question, because before we even talk about this resiliency, I think we all deal with one major challenge right now this year, is the age of resignation, right? We have a lot of turnover, and we have to figure out how to hire and retain employees. I think everyone is facing it right now. Or maybe people like to say, oh, it's not age of resignation, it's age of regeneration, right? So instead of like age of attrition, it's like age of attraction. So what I want to say is, like, it is half glass full or half glass empty, right? So it's like, how are we going to stay positive? Every one of us need to really stay positive. So before I talk about like individual, but we as a leader or in the management, how are we going to help build resilient employee, or maybe you call it like build happier or healthier employees, so that they can stay with us and we can retain the talents, right? So I think it's only two things I can offer right now, because it's very hard to do too many things right now because people are overwhelmed, right? We're all overwhelmed. Two things I would say is, first of all, proactively reach out to find out who are the employees at risk. then you can really address that immediately. Not able to find out is not acceptable, because then you are just waiting for termination or voluntary resignation, right? The second thing is to reduce burnout. So what do we do? So what we have implemented this year is we built a monthly people pulse survey. We send it to all managers and above executive as well. So everyone need to answer no more than 10 questions, talking about you just have to answer like, how's your team health? Do you notice any employee or your member has challenge at work, performance issue, or maybe some kind of personal issue that you detect? You don't need to describe what, but you can just put the name. So for example, I detect like Sarah, I put Sarah, and then I would say, anyone outside of your team? Oh yeah, Terry, I tag Terry, for example. So we collect all the feedback. So we summarize it, and then the senior leadership team will look at it. And then we start to say, oh wow, we didn't realize Sarah is at the edge. Who's close to Sarah? Jack is close to Sarah. So I'm going to put effort and talk to Sarah. Not necessarily Sarah's manager talk to Sarah, right? So I will spend time and speak with you and find out, hey, how can I help? So I think being able to connect and also show your care with the person is important. Early detection and follow up with care is critical. The second thing is reduce burnout. It is very hard. You know, like burnout is burnout, but we need to find out what burnout is all about. Burnout can be like overwhelmed. I cannot take one more step. Just leave me alone. So we are not really looking into the annual performance review at all. We just want to make sure we ask manager, other than their one-on-one check-in and monthly meeting, huddle, we ask employee not just focus on the annual goal. Our managers working with the employee for quarterly goals and really talk about the quarterly expectation and deliverables. Well, let's take small step. Let's don't overwhelm the employee with this annual goal. What do you mean, like, well, $5 million and 2,000 customers? Well, I cannot even think about 2,000 customers coming into my door. How about like, okay, 500 customers in 3 months or whatever, right? Something like that. You make it in the smaller piece and then work with your employee. Take one step at a time. And when you work with your employee, we focus on employee. I'm going to use Terry this time. Terry, how are you doing? You know, so focus on Terry, what Terry need to do. Don't talk about other stuff. What we can do together. And the second thing is, Terry, what do I need to do to help you move the obstacle? Terry, it's about you. I want to move the obstacle. Number 3 is really to help Terry feel good. Terry, you're doing a good job. I really appreciate it. The next 3 months with this thing, let's figure out how we can do it. Can you do this part? I want to do this part and removing this for you. Can we check in again? So make that quarterly review more personal reason, focus, and business focus. Don't just talk about business. At this time, relationship is critical. Having a good relationship with your employee, knowing where they stand, and then fit the business in and work together. Don't overwhelm your employee. Help them reduce their stress, reduce the burnout rate. So that's what I think we are focusing on. We're not focusing a lot of things, but giving the right tools, removing hurdles, and listening to the employee, making things in smaller chunk to help them through.
Gosh, I love that, Jackie. And a lot of what I heard there was about genuine empathy and caring, right? And to go back to what you originally said, which I love, you know, perhaps this is a season of regeneration, and perhaps this is an opportunity for us to think about more humanness in the workplace, right? For us as human resources people, maybe it's capital human now, right? And that's a gift. So to think of this opportunity as maybe this is a bit of a reset. Could it be? Is there a possibility for us to get back to the humans in our workplaces? And I just love the focus on genuine care for our people and spending the time to understand them. The other thing I love there, Jackie, was this idea of the early identification system that you talked about. and recognizing the value of networks in your organization. And then it may not always be the manager, going back to Gallup's engagement work around having a best friend at work, right? And maybe finding those other connections that might also be important supports for that employee, and making sure that we're just really genuinely tapping into that care. I love it. Love it. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Terry, what about you folks? How, thinking about resilience, I know there's been a lot of focus on wellness. I'd love to hear how you're also equipping your employees to be more resilient for today's challenges and in the future.
Yeah, well, I love what Jackie said, and I think we're like on the same page, really, because you know the 4 things that we're looking at is personal communication, culture, training, and leadership. And so, you know, the personal communication falls right into what Jackie was saying, but really doing a check-in to see how our employees are doing. So what we did is similar to Jackie's, we took the annual review, and we broke it down into, you know, every quarter, and not worrying about the benchmarks, but really saying, okay, let's do it quarterly and look at the personal and professional goals. And really, we wanted the manager and, you know, the employee to really connect and talk about how they could help each other with personal and professional goals. And really, you know, the outcome was for them to stay in tune with their staff member, and also so that they could build a relationship that would be stronger. And then, like Jackie said, know if there was a risk happening, or how could we help the employee. So similar to what she said, I won't go into it too much, but exactly we're looking at human capital, looking at how we can help in that area through communication. Another thing we looked at was culture, kind of what Jackie was saying too about the purpose of the company. Really letting people know what the culture of YWC Oahu is, and reinforcing that, and to help that, we implemented 3 things with the help of our staff. We did an employee new hire onboarding, because we did get a lot of new workers through COVID. So we created, like Jackie said, like a celebration gift. And in that gift box, we had YWC logo items, some healthy snacks, information about employee highlights, our newsletters, and all that good fun stuff. Wrapped it up in a pretty bow, and then we either put flowers on their desk or had a lady if it was a guy. And we had the wellness team, you know, meet that new person and personally and give that gift, that welcoming gift. And it did wonders for both the committee and the recipient. So again, that was just really enforcing our culture. And we had all our mission and vision values within the packet, and we discussed it. Another thing that they implemented was a newsletter just for employees. So again, celebrating all the wins that the employees did throughout the year. Nothing about the company, all about the employees, which we loved. So again, it could show the highlights. We want to celebrate all the little wins too. And another thing they did was we had a all staff meeting. So we had invited all the staff. We had little gifts on the table from different departments. Different departments put in their little program gifties, and we did it all. You know, a lot of times nonprofit, we're so caught up in serving the community that we forget about our team, our employees. So we kind of made the little gift of all the programs that we do and some of the things that we serve with for the employees. And it was really an employee generated meeting. Of course, what we did was our CEO gave a company, all company hands-on meeting where she explained the state of the company, so everyone felt comfortable knowing where we at. There was, trying to be authentic and clear as possible. And then the employees took over, and then we did health and wellness came on, and we did some line dancing in place, social distance, and did a lot of fun stuff, just letting loose and celebrating. So, really getting that culture and vision and our mission in line, so that they feel that they know what the purpose is. The third thing is training. We implemented all year round training, for all employees. So again, it was important that the quarterly goals, personal and professional goals, we knew what they were so that we could provide training for our staff. And we wanted to, it was a slow process, but we wanted to really let them know that we care about them. And we implemented a budget per department to make sure that they took advantage of that training. So, and then, you know, some people took classes. They took, a couple of our employees took the Wahine Rising class that MCBL offers, and we took their picture with their certificate in the newsletter, you know, all good things. So everybody really enjoyed celebrating each other. And so I think all those things together was really enhancing our values. The last thing that we focused on was leadership. It's so hard to do anything if your leadership is not on board. So that's why, if you remember, I said when we did our wellness committee, I said no executive allowed, because that kind of changes the voice. So once we got our programs, our goals and measurements together, we presented it to the leadership. They loved it, and we have our co-chairs report every month on what they're doing and how it's making a great impact on our team. And again, leadership, we said we have to really lead with resilience and practice, you know, what we preach, and really create that ecosystem of strength for not only our business, but for our team. So, you know, those are the things that we worked on to really, we feel that's going to help build our resilience, you know, for our company.
I love it. I love it, Terry. Early on in the pandemic, I remember there was a lot of talk of communication, communicate, you know, to leaders, and you need to be out there communicating as much as possible. And so we heard of things like daily all hands meetings and things like that. And then some of the learnings that I think we might have taken away was a little less about quantity and perhaps a little more focus on quality, right? So I love what I'm hearing you talk about, thinking about the what are we communicating, and thinking about what do our employees need to hear in this communication, and thinking about them as the audience for the communication. I love that. Excellent. Awesome. So I think it looks like we've had some questions come in through the chat. So I think we'll move over to some of those questions. It looks like the first question that came in: how do you help to empower your team to have a voice when there are some online and in person? It's a great question. How do we balance that hybrid workplace, if you will? Let's see, Jackie, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, so the question is, how do you connect the voice from online versus in person, right? The hybrid workplace. So I assume this is a company that is a hybrid mode. There are employees in the office. There are also employees working from home, right? This is a very good challenge. I think we need to be sensitive and realizing, first of all, you know, we were working on the hybrid mode. Just want to let you know that we were ready to go back to the office in August, and now we defer, right? We're not reopening. But during the June to August timeframe, we were in hybrid. We have people working in the office. We have people working at home. Actually, it's very challenging, right? So because like when you try to do a meeting and some people are in the conference room and some people are calling in, so sometimes people are talking over each other. So I think the first thing first is like we need to realizing the difficulty. So we realize the difficulty right away, and then we also need to be sensitive. We need to be sensitive and then saying that what is the purpose of this meeting, and then also what is the purpose of this discussion, and then realizing that, you know, do we really need to have a mix, or do we ask everybody on Zoom? Because it's more disruptive. Half of the people in the meeting room, and then they're trying to connect the stuff, and half of people are trying to like, what you're talking about. So define the purpose of the topic, and then start to find out that should this be all on Zoom, or should it be like in person? But the person who asked this question probably is not about meeting. It's about generally, how do you connect? I believe you need to really create a psychologically safety environment, and also understanding what you want to achieve for that certain topic and discussion. There are certain things you prefer in person, and there's certain thing you don't mind to be on Zoom. But I think what we want to do is the D&I, right? We want everybody's voice is included, and we got to find a way to allow everyone to express their opinion. You may not want to have a decision right there as a team if you find the discussion are not being fairly represented, or you may want to like facilitate in a way that so and so, I haven't heard your feedback. You know, maybe the person is over Zoom and did not feel like I have an opportunity to say something. So we need to really sharpen our facilitation skill set and making sure every voice is included and also understand the purpose of that discussion. There's certain discussion is brainstorming, certain discussion is feedback. But if there's some major discussion, make sure we facilitate in a way that every voice is being included, no matter where you are, in the building or at home.
I love that. There's been some interesting research about the sort of democratization of Zoom, right? And the idea, what it's done to balance of power for folks all on the call, right? Because suddenly some of those, where you sit in the room or where your role falls in the org chart gets democratized by everyone's squares the same size on a Zoom call. And what's the impact of that to our culture? So there's some really interesting things to explore there, I think. But Jackie, I love your, it starts with just understanding what's the purpose of the discussion, using that as the jumping off point for how to best balance inline or online or in-person communication. That's outstanding. I have another question. Terry, I'll send this one over to you. And this person is asking specifically, we've heard a lot of great engagement tools, specifically if there are resources that you would recommend specific to lifting women, that maybe strategies you've used to specifically target some of the challenges for your Wahine in the workplace.
Oh, that's a really great question. I'm always searching every resource, book, internet that I can find to help me, and not only because we run the leadership programs, but I want to say that, when you network and join like-minded groups, that is where you can really get some really good feedback, advice, and trusted, just having a trusted, safe, nurturing environment can get you a lot of answers. With that said, I do have a lot of books that we can put in the listing, and one website that I know Sarah looks at and got the report from today is Lean In. Mm-hmm. If ever gone into the Lean In website, they have so many resources for women dealing with COVID right now. I constantly go there and just look and see what they have to offer, because it's they're constantly updating it. So I would recommend looking at Lean In online. If that's the fastest way, to go online and look at something for your immediate topic. They have all different categories that you could probably think of.
Thanks, Terry. And as an alumni of the Patsy T. Mink Leadership Alliance, I could not let this question pass without suggesting participating in the programs like this one today through the YWCA, the companionship and the support and the network that's provided to women in the workplace through the programs of the YWCA and the Patsy T. Mink Center, I think provide the connections that Jackie and Terry have both been talking about. So I can't advocate enough for the programs, whether it's Wahine Rising or the Patsy T. Mink Leadership Alliance, or even just finding camaraderie in conversations like this. Staying connected to the YWCA, I would say, is an amazing strategy. Jackie, did you have anything to add to that one specific to lifting women in the workplace?
I think Terry has a good suggestion, and you also covered the best already. I always say, reach out. You are not alone. There are people around you. They may have experienced similar stuff. They have better answer, so sharing and giving is very important to me. You give your advice and, the next day you can get good advice. So work together as a team, and then you are really not alone. Online is really, really good. But I think like online, sometimes I feel overwhelmed. Sometimes a lot of things you read. So sometimes I will also tell each one of you, don't be too harsh to yourself. You want to do the best. I know you're all the best here. That's why you're even calling in and want to learn more. So sometimes give yourself a break. And I usually read a lot of things and I take a walk. And then all the readings start to come together. So don't push yourself and saying, I got to read this, I got to come up with something, I need to get all the stuff. Yeah, gather all the information, take a walk, talk around with your friends, and you come up with a very good idea and your strategy.
Excellent. Thank you, Jackie. I think we have time for one more question here. Let me see if I can pull one more up here. This question was goes back specifically to wellness as a resilient strategy. Asking, and I'll throw this out to both of you, you can decide who will start. Any specific resources in addition to LinkedIn that you would recommend relating to, promoting wellness, workplace wellness, if there are specific tools that you found particularly helpful?
Terry, you want to go there? Go for it. You're very good with all the wellness.
No, it's going to sound funny, but for our wellness committee, like we started it organically. So we just, did a lot of research ourselves. We didn't have any, company that we went to, to give us all the answers. We met as a team and we just said, what do we need? What does our company need? A lot of companies will be different because it depends on the makeup of your staff. We have a young staff that's just starting their career, mid staff that, in the mid-career that have families. We have older staff that are more into health. And then we have executive staff that, want to give back and mentor. So we really looked at everything of where we were. And then that's how we came up with the areas that we wanted to work on. And then we also did research, and we did a lot of webinars. Luckily, right now, there's a lot of free webinars out there. So I joined a couple of associations on wellness, and I just tried to learn as much as I can so that I could steer my co-chairs in the right direction. And I'm happy to say so far it's working. And I think the bottom line is listen to what your employees are asking for.
I love that answer, Terry. I mean, what a wonderful reminder that oftentimes the solutions live right in our house with our people, right? They're often the smartest people in the room by far. Mm-hmm. Jackie, did you have anything to add that you wanted to, specific to wellness resources that you've seen that have worked?
Yeah, so we provided lunch and learn, right? Like last year we were talking about like how to parenting and then how to even do your work quickly by showing them how to use Excel more effectively, whatever. Those, we give them tools so that we hope they are not stressed out. But right now I am also looking at financial wellness because like what I mentioned early on, we launched the wellness app because we decided to go with the app because it's like anywhere, any place, anytime, and any topics. And that app also allowed them to sign up a wellness coach for 30 minutes. So it become very customizable because they may not feel comfortable tell me what is their struggle and what's their challenge. So we decided to use this app approach because it geared to our employees' need because they're younger, they have different needs. It's not necessary to tell them to go to class, tell them to read a book. So they can use the app. Everybody like now they get married to their phone, right? So they cannot talk to the phone. They can look at the phone to solve their problem, right? So we use the app approach. But the next thing I'm looking at is also financial wellness because it can add stress to employees. So I'm looking at like some other options right now. And then this is future, right? So, but just want to let you know that when I look at wellness, it's like mental, physical, emotional, and also like I'm thinking about from a financial standpoint, so I got to work on that as well.
Yeah. Excellent. I know, just to throw a couple of ideas out there, Calm is an online app that we've been looking at considering an enterprise-wide subscription for our staff, or Headspace is another common one. And then Jackie, to add to your idea, I know reaching out to our 401k vendor, they also were able to provide some really great low-cost financial wellness resources for our staff. And I love the idea of focusing on financial wellness as a mitigator to stress as well, no doubt during this time. Absolutely. Okay, gosh, the time has gone by so fast, and you guys have just provided some outstanding strategies and insights. And it's so clear that right now our organizations are at a crossroad as we continue to challenge, face these challenges, and engage and support our Wahine in the workplace. So thank you guys so much for the great ideas and the crucial human-focused lens that you bring to the table. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you both for a great conversation. Thank you. Brittany, I'll throw it back to you for some closing comments.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. And again, really would like to thank Terry as well as Jackie for sharing their thoughts, and Sarah for helping to bring all of these amazing points together as well too, to help us as we like as we had mentioned as well, manage this extended marathon that hopefully will one day that will be done with soon. But to help us get to that finish line. But again, want to thank all of you who are joining us today as well for being here for this conversation. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. As I mentioned, we will be forwarding over a link to today's webinar to all of you. So please look out for our post-event email. One of the resources that Sarah had mentioned was the McKinsey & Company report about women in the workplace. So we included or attached to the email that I'll be sending, I will also include a copy of that report for all of you so that you can look more into it as well. But hopefully all of you will enjoy and be able to gain a lot from that. And we'd like to also let all of you know that we do have our next event coming up in December. So during this particular Wahine event, because it will be in the evening, it's going to be on the top tips to make yourself invaluable in 2022. So we hope to see all of you there. Included in the post-event email will be a link to that on our website. But anyways, thank you all for joining us, and we will see all of you next time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Thank you. All right. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I know that everyone is logging off. We'll see all of you soon. Thank you,
All right.
Sarah, Jackie, and
Thank you.
Terry.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sarah.
Terry.
Thank you, Brittany.
Great
Terry.
job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, good. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.